Alright, I apologize for the shakiness that will occur in this video because I'll show you actually. I have this propped up on top of a flavor variety of instant oatmeal box, so it's probably going to be a little shaky because I cannot find the tripod, but I am itching, literally, I just itched my leg, to crochet. So, here is my yarn. It is called, I love this yarn, and it is a worsted weight, which is like a medium thickness of yarn, which is what most patterns, you know, if you're just making like a scarf or a blanket, most patterns will just call for worsted weight. So you can pick this up. It is from Hobby Lobby, which you can't really read because it's looking blurry. But a skein, which is what this is, oh, can't get the whole skein in there, this, is $3.99, and online you can print out 40% off coupons pretty much for any day you go, and it's good for one item, so 40% off of $3.99 is something, and it'll be less than $3.99. Okay, so let me try to not shake the table anymore. I like to work from the thread that's coming out of the center, but there's also a thread that wraps around, but it's just easier coming out the center like that. So, what you do is, this is single crocheting, and in patterns it'll show up as SC. So if you see SC, it's not like sk, it's single crochet. So I'm using a size I hook. It's Susan Bates, and I like the metal hooks better because the plastic ones seem to kind of make an annoying noise, and I just get very irritated. So I have my size I, and I have my yarn. And what you do is, you take the yarn, here's the tail end, and you wrap it around your fingers, or you don't have to. If it's easier just doing this sort of thing, go ahead, but I like to wrap it around my fingers just to get this little circle. This is on top, this is behind. So I have my little circle, and I take the tail end yarn and I put it behind, so now it's kind of like a no sign, and it's coming up through the middle like this. So you grab onto it and make sure you hold these two strings, the tail end and the yarn coming out of the skein, and you're going to pull to form a little knot with a loop. And the reason it's called a slip knot is because it will just slip away. So that is what you do to start any crochet project. You make the slip knot. I'll show it again. If you don't want to watch it, you can fast forward, but I'm doing it again. Make the loop, take the tail end, take it through the loop, pull, and it's a knot. And you know it's a knot if you try to make it slip and it slips, but I wouldn't suggest doing that once you finally get it because you're just going to have to do it again. So you do the knot, and put the hook through and tighten around the hook. Not too tight, but just tighten it on there. And I personally think the hardest part of crocheting is trying to figure out how the heck to hold it. It's not a very comfortable thing when you first start out, but if you do it long enough and you kind of practice at how to hold and what to do with this hand right here, then it'll come easier. So I'm right-handed. I really don't know how to crochet left-handed, so if you're left-handed, you might want to just stop watching the video, because I really can't help you. But I just imagine everything would be reversed, pretty much. So I take my pointer finger, my thumb, and I hold on to the skinny part right here of the hook where the lettering is, and I just kind of hold it like this. Some people hold it like a pen, but I'm not, like, I definitely could not do that. It's all about what feels good, you know. So I hold it like this, and with my left hand I take the yarn that's coming out of the skein and I kind of hold it tight with my pinky like this. So I'm holding it with my pinky. These ones are just kind of chilling right now. And I take my pointer finger and I loop it under. Just like this. So I hold it with my pinky. I loop my pointer finger under. Now, you have to start out by chaining. So a pattern will say like CH, and that stands for how many chains you have to do. So you have to count and make sure you get the right amount of chains, or else your project is just going to be screwed up. So here I am holding it. And I take my thumb and I take my middle finger and I hold on to the little slip knot that we made. Like this. So you take the hook and you go under the yarn right here that you're holding, and it's going to go into right there, and you just pull it through. So you go under, make sure it loops around, and you pull it through the loop that's on the hook. And this is chaining. The video quality just keeps going in and out depending on how I move my hands, so I apologize. So once again, you're holding it, take the hook, go under the yarn to where it's looped around like this, and you go ahead and pull it through. And it's important to keep this yarn right here, the yarn that you're working directly off from, really tight, so that's where your technique comes in. Just however you hold it, just make sure you keep it tight so your gauge is consistent. You don't have like a bunch of big stitches and some little ones and an uneven project. So I'm just gonna chain a couple, and this, oh, you can't really see that well. The chain should look kind of like a braid minus the third strand. It just is two, and this is the front, this is the right side of it. And the back kind of has like a little bump between the two. So to start a single crochet, you're never going to work into the first chain from the hook. You're always going to start by going into the second. So count 1, 2. So you take the hook, and this is where a good pointed hook comes in handy, not like a dull one. So when you go to buy the hooks, get one with a nice little point. So you go into the second chain, and you go to where you have just one little loop underneath, like you're going into the chain. There's going to be 2 strands of yarn above, and then the original loop right here. So you loop under and pull through once. So now you have 2. You loop again, and you pull through the remaining 2. And that is your first single crochet. So you go in between the little braid to where you have 2 strands on top, 1 strand on the bottom. You loop around and pull through, and you loop around again and pull through 2. So you go in, loop around, pull through, loop around, pull through 2. And they should all look pretty consistent. What I would do when you're first starting out is just practice a lot. Like I would chain like 100 chains and just keep crocheting until everything looks really good and everything is the same gauge. And then, I might do it about 20 more times, because you can never practice too much. And see, you would go to like the end of this, say you were making a scarf or something, you'd go to the end and you would chain 1. Let's pretend this is the end. You'd chain 1, you'd turn everything around, and then you would, oops, not do that. You would go through the hole that you made, loop around, and there you go. So the good thing about crocheting that you don't get with knitting is that if you mess up, it's very easy just to take out the part that you messed up or you can just take everything out. That's fun too. So that is how you single crochet, and I hope that you learned something, and if you watch this and you make something after watching this, I'd really like to see it. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm just gonna crochet by myself.